Good evening, everyone. And I know it's been a long technical discussion that we've had so far. And one thing I'd like to say is that I've been on the other side of the table along with you. Maybe about 15 years ago, this word of artificial intelligence had started to go around. And it became one of those things as saying that, man, we just have to be there. We can't miss out on this. And the fear of missing out was very, very high. And of course, the question that we always had to fulfill to justify any kind of investment or any other kind of decision was, what does it do for the customer? So what you just saw right now was a lot of technical sort of, the process, the systems, all the integration that's going to be taking place. But finally, the big question is, what does it do for the customer? How does it keep me competitive? And most importantly, what value could I associate with it, and how does it help the business grow? That's the kind of area that I want to focus on. And I think a lot of you are going to be asked these questions while you really know the technical part. Finally, you'll have to justify it through a business case or to tell it, what does it do for my customer? What does it do to keep me ahead of my competitors? Now, you as Maruti have a bigger responsibility. You're the leaders. The expectations are going to be that, are you leading this? Because if you're just following anyone else, then you really are not running to the full potential or the expectations of your customer. So I think it's going to be very, very important for you to appreciate what is it that's going to be ahead of the game. You have to be ahead of the curve. And to be ahead of that curve, you have to keep in mind what is it that the customers are experiencing and what should they expect. And it's not just about the automotive industry. Artificial intelligence is not the purview of automotive. It is on every possible science. It's on every possible business and commercial aspect. And it's already being used diligently, popularly, as well as it's expecting business to grow very, very high already in certain industries. But we'll stay in context of automotive here. The first and foremost, is this, can I set my presentation? Oh, okay, great, thank you. So the first and foremost is, who's behind the wheel on this innovation? Who's behind the wheel on this? Is it going to be the computer guys, the systems guys? Is it going to be the manufacturing guys? Is it going to be the product development guys? Who is it going to be? Actually, it's going to be the customer. The customer is expecting all these aspects to come. A vehicle is not just a transportation. It is possibly the most enabler and the empowerment that a customer ever has. Very much like the mobile phone, which has gone completely advanced to what we'd imagined it to be. A country which 20 years ago had a problem just getting phone numbers, getting a telephone connection, is where today all the hand mobile sets have exceeded more connections than we ever had on the landline. Could anybody have expected that? In the automobile, we were working on very preliminary, very rudimentary models, literally a transportation system. Today, that automobile is becoming my enabler and my partner. It has to be even smarter than the device that I have, my handset that I have. Are we ready to meet that kind of a customer's expectations? India has an opportunity today to actually leapfrog. And are we ready to make that leapfrog? Are we following what are trends that are in Europe, South America, North America? And is there something that we can expect in India? What is the driver of AI in the automotive area? Well, if you think about it, it's always cost savings. First and foremost is the economics. Give me the business case. What is this whole thing about? Because most of the people in our management really don't appreciate the kind of technology that's coming in. They appreciate more, what does that technology do for it? Give me the benefit of the technology. I don't want to know the details, but does it help me cut cost? If it cuts costs, you get their attention. Does it help quality? It gets their attention. Does it give me a competitive advantage to my competitor? They will listen. So the first and foremost, I think where it became applicable and where people, it wasn't about talk about it, it was show me. And the biggest show me came in from manufacturing. Quality, speed, as well as accuracy. And that's where I think all of us in the robotic, the whole shop floors have changed over the last 50 years. It is becoming more and more robotic, less and less labor intensive, and the accuracy with which that model is happening is so good that you are finding that the rapid change of product and model years has only been possible because of some of these applications. That has given management more and more confidence. How can I use this further? And that's where we have the opportunity of using artificial intelligence, because the predictive maintenance has been a huge game changer for manufacturing. In the case of product, you're having technology for purposes of safety. Safety has been the biggest precursor and the actual motivation to carry out more and more improvements. And why safety? Because it was a liability. The kind of recalls, the kind of liability issues that we had occurred, the auto companies had done. So the idea of adding features where intelligence from the car starts taking control away from the driver for safety reasons has become one of the biggest use cases today. So the advanced braking system, as well as, in India it may not be so prevalent, but lane departure is a very, very important feature that is being sold today and has become a competitive advantage of a number of models. Everybody talks about autonomous cars. Is that really the sort of, the end game that we're achieving with artificial intelligence? Well, not exactly. There is an advantage of having a driverless car, the intelligence that's going to go, the development that's going to go. But that is sort of where you have a vision. Let's go there. And all the applications that you're seeing come in are starting to take over because they are easier use cases which can be, the customers would adapt to. We were talking about it earlier about being agile. The agility of product development comes in is when can I apply this to a customer who then sees the value and then chooses our brand more than any others. And this is sort of a responsibility that the leading brand in a market always has. Who is going to be the first, or are we going to be a follower? Is being a follower the way we'd like to be, or would we like to lead the pack? And how do we identify these trends? So the first and foremost that you're going to find is that cars are going to start behaving more and more bespoke to the customer. The customer wants a more personalized experience. He wants a car, or she wants a car that's more aligned to their needs and not necessarily just a mass-produced vehicle. And the customer will reward you, hopefully, with more premium pricing and a better profitability. But that also means that the manufacturing has to become adaptable there. So there's a host of integration that has to take place, but that's really what artificial intelligence is about. One of the companies, again, I'd say one of the leaders that is being associated with the advancements in artificial intelligence. I can't take the name because I work with them in a bit. But the point is that today, they manufacture the car in one part of the world for the whole world. That car has a waiting list for many months, but it is configured to your requirements. It is completely bespoke. You have a configurator, you are wherever you are, they have a system, you can go in, you can configure the car, and that car is then given an individual VIN, and that VIN is going to be the track, and it is going to be for you and for you only. And believe me, they make about 200 to 300% margin on that. Would you like to be in a state of that kind? Do you believe it is possible to do it in a mass customized way? It is. And that is exactly where AI is giving you the enablement to do that. But most importantly, and this is where AI is making the difference, and this is what the transformative and disruptive issue is, it is giving the power and the empowerment to the customer to choose the model that they want, the features that they want. And that is where that level of engagement is what artificial intelligence is providing you. It's not about the retail experience. It's not about the fact that I have a consultant who is going to be virtual or anything. That is part of the deal. But the actual outcome is I have made an empowered and I was in control of the vehicle that I ordered. And that is where the brand experience starts to make the difference. So that's where it is headed. And connected vehicles and all these have become hygiene. Anywhere else in the world, you can activate your car not through voice. It is actually through facial recognition. Just like your mobile phone, I do it and it opens up. Today, the car will recognize I've come in. The car will set all the temperatures, all the music settings, as well as my seat settings to my requirement. That is artificial intelligence. And that is the level that you want to. I think the idea of today, a session like this, and I realized we've done this years ago when we were trying to discover the journey for ourselves in product development. We need a partner. This is not something a car company is good at. We want it all proprietary. We have our engineers will do it there, will do it. And our engineers can't do it. They will not allow it. Why? Because they've invested their time already in legacy technologies. So that is where I think being empathetic is going to be a very, very important part. And this is where we're going into. Personalization. This is, I believe, where the real differentiator will start coming for brands. And the leader has a bigger responsibility than anybody else. So vehicle personalization is not about accessories. That's what we know it as. It's not about accessories. It's actually about settings, my cabin thing, the language that is going to come out for which I activated, the fact that it can recognize my accent, it's all the nuances of that. That's really where it's coming into. Biometric recognition is going to be a big one. I don't know how many of you, let's see movies, right? They're already moved into the future. How many see Iron Man? How many know Iron Man? You seen the movie? Okay. What is Iron Man's computer known as? Jarvis. Tell me what Jarvis stands for. Do you know what Jarvis stands for? Come, think about it. It's just a really intelligent, smart system. Jarvis, J-A-R, just a really intelligent system. Very intelligent system, Jarvis. That's what this is going to be. The kind of support that he got from that robot, just by telling him and the rest being done, everything on the screen, everything, that's what's going to happen here. I am not joking. This is already happening. The thing is that we in the automotive business believe we're the leaders. We're not. The biggest leaders is actually in defense. And I can tell you right now, been a part of it, the advancement that has taken place with artificial intelligence on that is really, really, it's fascinating. The world is already here. You have to really find your way of understanding and take the lead with customers. Hear the customer out. See their experiences on phones, see their experiences in a retail center, go to the largest brands. One of the experiences that we do in another company is amazing in Europe. We actually go to these luxury centers and find out what they're doing. Real estate is an impossible aspect that you can manage. The pricing will always go higher. Customers say, why aren't you in the center of the city? And why isn't it that I can have a dealership there that helps me out? They don't need that. What they need is an experience which will be perfect for them at a convenient location. And that's where the digital world is beginning to take over. So today, they're not dealerships, they're actually experiential centers. This is the biggest advantage of artificial intelligence and the root of how you will get the power of it. So what you're still talking about predictive in ChatGPT and all that is great. It helps you to process, but the real judgment comes in from the actual insight that we as the marketing people will draw from. So that is really where you got to make sure that these customer interactions turn onto something really intelligent, which starts getting attributed to a feature or to a spec or to a benefit, which you can get value for and stay competitively ahead. The idea of artificial intelligence or any other intelligence, remember, we're that into artificial intelligence. We're all those smart people. That data that we're using and collecting is the same data that you would analyze. But who's drawing the insight? Who's taking a call? Who's making a business case that we need this particular aspect that's coming out? So understand that all of this is providing you great. You're going to work things faster. You're going to work really, really faster. But it's finally the data from the customer, real-time data, in a time when you need to make your decision, not coming late, not coming too early. But the fact is, catch it so that you can stay ahead of the game. So do you believe that you're using your data? I'll ask this question to you. Are you really making the best use of your data? Huh? And be honest with yourself. There's always room for improvement. There's always. You have to decide faster. You will always be asked questions. If you go to a board with $1 million investment, I can assure you'll get more questions on why do you need the money? Why can't you do it the way you've always been doing it? Why do you need this one, and why do you need it now? Right? And the first other question comes is, who's ahead of the game? When you're the top of the game and you're the leader, if it doesn't do anything else, we'll just stay where we are. Correct? Because we have to save cost. We in the marketing team are always one of the losers in that. Manufacturing gets more money than we do on such cases, right? This is where you need this. The fact that you have the data to prove your case, you have predictive models, all these things will help you do it a lot faster. So I'll try to tape it quick because I've taken more time than I thought. Let me give you some ideas of where it's being used. This is what I know so far. You guys already know what you're doing, but these are some things that I've come across and I've seen and observed and which has been a game changer for these companies. Mahindras, yes, we know the Boleros and we know their other sort of SUVs, but their real business and where they're made a significant difference in lifestyle and understanding is in tractors. The fact that they have sensors now which are able to give predictive ideas of the wear and tear and what is it when the tractor needs to be really, really overloaded. These things are overloaded and over-abused like crazy, especially during harvest time. They lie idle for months, and then they suddenly put into overtime, 3 times overtime than they would be otherwise. All these trends have now got analyzed in a very, very robust and an accurate way that has gone into making predictive models that have made sure that their uptime is very, very high. And this is where their brand has taken a significant leap in being the preferred choice today in tractors. Okay? The other fact is that believe it or not, but one of the biggest damages that are happening, especially from an insurance claim side, is not from accidents. It is from transit damage. When these vehicles are moved and taken and customers want it new, that's when they do it. And transit damage is one of the largest expenses that car companies go through and insurance companies pay up for. So the idea now is that how can we make sure that there's an audit trail which allows us to understand what was the car when it left and when it reached. And that's where you have one of the uses that is there, and again, a startup in India, which has actually made rigs, almost like a MRI scanner, where it scans the vehicle from its surfaces, references it to the benchmark that it has, loaded, unloaded, and if there's any damages, immediately it goes into a bill of materials for parts, like what we were talking earlier. It already decides the pricing, it gives a labor cost to it, sends it to the insurance company, the approval comes within a fraction of a second, it's repaired, again scanned, and the claim is settled. Can you imagine doing this for about 10,000 cars that you have to do and transport it around the country? That's what this is doing. So the other part is chatbots. I mean, this is something I think is the most elementary kind of thing, but people don't like typing. People don't like long, monotonous answers. It has to get configured to your nuance. It has to be quick, it has to be concise, it has to be to the point. So there's still a lot of work to be done. But I can tell you chatbots, I don't know how many you use it, but the best chatbot I've used is not from the auto industry. The best chatbot I've come across is in medicine. When you actually want to understand pharmaceuticals, there's a host of other chatbots which can give you a prediction of what it is that you must take, but it gives you a lot of disclaimers. That's the big part, but very useful. But think about it, you're going to be sort of a personalized service. Again, personalization has become the watchword over here. Are you personalizing it, or are you just giving it a very rote answer that it keeps churning out? That's not intelligent. That is just mechanical. So be very cautious on being mechanical and actually intelligent. Oops, sorry. In service, is the other damage. I don't know how much dissatisfaction, if you've been following scores on, dissatisfaction in service. It is mostly about, because if you, how many of you go to your service stations? Someone, be very, very honest. Do you think they're big enough to handle the load? Right? The parking is atrocious. Thankfully, a driver is taking it right now, and you don't even go there. But do you even have any idea how those cars are parked and how they are handled? Have you ever thought about it? Trust me, you don't want to know. It's like in the food that you order from a kitchen. It's best, what you don't see, the heart doesn't mind. But there's a lot of dinks and dents that happen. There's a lot of customers also who are, take advantage of such situations and say, my car was received damaged, or it's come back with a big dent or something. Too much time and too much effort wasted. Again, a same rig, scanning before, scanning after. You were talking about, I think, Sundar, you were talking about Mobileye. That's the name of the company that scans these vehicles from the undercarriage. So this is exactly what MG Motors has done. They've got a scan that goes in, monitors, the customer is signed off, it is repaired, again signed off. No more issues of that kind. The transparency and the speed with which this has been done, not with a mobile phone, you're scanning, taking 25 pictures, sending you on WhatsApp. No, that's not artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a robust rig managed with data going to a central server, being referenced, and that VIN is being managed right from and it is even referenced against the original manufacturing specs with which that car was done with. That's how accurate it has become. So the immersive virtual showroom will have to go a far bigger step forward. It is not. And the reason I say this is real estate prices is always going to be high. People who are really your target customers that you want are not going to come to the showroom. So what you need to do, you really need to do a sort of a virtual showroom, which is not just about the customer doing it himself or herself. It's also about doing pop-up stores. Today, in this hotel, I can tell you, where was it? I think in Germany. All the 5-star hotels have actually got terminals for cars. You can go ahead and check out your BMW. You can check out your Porsche. You can check out your Audi. You can go there, and there'll be somebody, they will configure the car for you there itself. So you don't go to a showroom. You actually go to this 5-star kind of environment. You're hosted to a coffee, and you're doing that. That's really how it works. So please, go beyond our typical strategies that we have. Here's a showroom, here's a dealer. No. What you now can do is you have the power, the customer has the power. I can go anywhere, I can find a terminal. That terminal doesn't mean have to be my terminal at home. I provide the environment, I have a showcase, I have that great sort of luxury products around it, and I have my terminal, and I can actually check out really, like in a virtual showroom, what my BMW X7 or others would look like. So this is really what's happening. So be strategic. Do not be tactical would be my suggestion to all of you. The reason I'm saying strategic, because I've seen the result of that 10 years ago when we developed strategies for our auto company at that time. And I've worked with mainstream brands, I've worked with very exclusive brands, and I've worked with bespoke brands like Rolls-Royce. It is fascinating how far people are beginning to experience the ability to personalize their car, which is making the difference. And that is where the world is headed, and that is where you should go. The product reliability and with all the intelligent data that is going in real time is saving a lot of effort in being lost in translation. We have a lot of omissions and of things being missed out, not being understood. This translates a voice of a customer into a very standardized manufacturing bill of material to a very also to an engineer who can then use that for the next cycle planning of the product upgrade or next gen that is going to be done. So all of this is where it comes in. So this is where I would say the driver is actually going to be artificial intelligence behind the car. There'll be facial recognition, visual recognition, image recognition, running into millions and millions of use cases getting studied, amplified, and also predicted to make sure that the next product that's going to come out of your company is going to be one that the customer not only wants, but it'll wait for. Today, we are no longer going to push cars out as wholesales, as inventory. They will be ordered beforehand, and when they are delivered, they will be one of a kind. That's the way forward. Okay? So collaborate. Don't try to do it yourself. Use the smart people who are around this in this particular area. Use the experts. Don't try to build that expert in-house, because you can never give those guys a career or an understanding, because your core business is in the selling and branding of vehicles. You manage the brand, let them manage the technology would be, again, my recommendation. Okay? Thank you.